So we move on to our second featured poet today, Elizabeth Parker. And Elizabeth contacted me from Bristol and sent some information about herself, about where she's been published and reviews of her latest collection, which is here. It's her first collection, published by Sarah, and it's called In Her Shambles. And rather than tell you very much more, I just thought I'd read an extract from a review in the Wales Arts Review by Sophie Baggott, which gives you flavour of what Elizabeth is doing here. It says, In Her Shambles is a misnomer. Virtually nothing of a shambolic nature is to be gleaned from the women occupying Elizabeth Parker's debut poetry collection. On the contrary, we encounter female beacons of self-control, confidence, woman-to-woman solidarity. Women are integral, propping up the book's spine with poise and the occasional on-point put-down of a ghostly hymn. For me, this book felt like an ode to women's togetherness in every sense. So, Elizabeth Parker.
Okay, thank you for that extract. That was a really lovely review. It's wonderful to be here. The open mic poetry was absolutely stunning. I'm totally blown away by that, and the way it was performed, and you definitely carried us with you, Lantern Carrier. I'm going to start with one of the women from the collection. First of all, I wanted to thank Patrick for inviting me to read in this historic pub at this venerable event, which Patrick and Pete have told me is now 30 years old. They've been running it in this room for 30 years?
No, different venues.
Oh, different venues. Wow. That's an honour. So I'm going to start with one of the women in the collection, Elizabeth Siddal, who I've become quite fascinated with. So Elizabeth Siddal, for those of you who don't know, was the wife of Dante Gabriel Rossetti. And there's an interesting story related to the pair of them. When she died, as a romantic gesture, Dante Gabriel Rossetti buried a book of his poetry in her hair, in her grave. 7 years later, realising it was his finest work, or what he thought was his finest work, he paid men in beer to exhume her and remove the book, which he then had reprinted. So when you hear a story like that, it's hard not to write a poem about it. So I've written a response to that story, and I'm kind of trying to express a modern kind of exhumation at the same time. Lizzie. I read of Dante Gabriel Rossetti tucking a book in Lizzie's hair. Highgate, plot 5779. Stowing hours spent, rhyming the planes of her face, wording her long neck, while she faded on laudanum in 14 Chatham Place. I understand burials, delete Word files, type an email address in the Hotmail search box, click select all, delete, empty recycling bin, clear. After 7 years, he paid men in beer to prize the grave slab, spade glints knifing loam as they picked out his lyric to her lips, her auburn hair. I understand exhumations, recharge an old phone, slot in its SIM for text message streams. They plucked out his book with a Bible and a worm, leaves edged red, bound in calfskin, disinfectant weak when he unpeeled the rags. I open blank documents, select, copy, emails, text messages, paste old words to clean screens. He chose a new typeset, edited his metaphors for her lips, filled wormholes with new words for her hair, tweaked his meter to quicken her pulse. I understand edits, delete, replace, retype, right-click for synonyms, select all, scroll for time's new Roman. He rewrote her reds, her seductions, shames, the flames in her hair, selected new words for medieval rooms, gleams of lattice, arras, burnt perfumes, parted damask. I spell check, save as, rename, print, close, shut down. I've come over to Bristol, from Bristol today. I grew up in the Forest of Dean, which is on the border between England and Wales, and I actually went to school in Monmouth Comprehensive School. And because of that upbringing, I was able to have a poem included in Seven's The Borders pamphlet, which is part of their pamphlet series celebrating the spirit of a place. And I'm in great company, so I'm honoured to be in it. It's a lovely pamphlet. This poem is about where I grew up, which is in a garden centre in the heart of the Forest of Dean, which my parents still own, run and live in. And we're having a free event celebrating Justin Nichols, who's a Wye Valley composer, but he's also renowned, with 4 other poets in the garden centre on the 7th of August, so you're all welcome. Free food as well, so do grab a flyer. Anyway, we go back there now. We were quite frustrated as teenagers growing up in the middle of the sticks, but we go back there now and we absolutely love it. So this is called Home to the Garden Centre, the Forest of Dean. We return when the garden flares, red, pink, orange rhododendrons and camellias, hydrangeas freeing their blue moths, to nest cones stitched to the eaves, the gargoyle with moss on his hands, a nostril plugged with lichen. We return to paths ribbed with sleepers, bogey wheels spiked with cogs rusting on stream banks, to locked coal mines, unworked cream-faced quarries, a forest still oozing iron, bedrocks greased with ore. We return to boss-eyed boar rotting on the verge, piglets with humbug stripes, to hunting salt licks, culls, white flickers in the tails of fallow deer. We return to the stuccoed house, 2 miners' cottages knocked through, the stutter of her singer as she hems liberty prints for curtains, cushion covers, foot dipping, rising on the treadle. We return to her ceramic bowl beside the Belfast sink, shaped like a bellflower, black with tadpoles every spring, their mouths opening holes in the surface, their tiny sucks on our fingertips. New ones, 3 new ones to finish this set. So this short poem includes a lyric at the end of the first stanza from the song Lies by the Black Keys. Expensive paper lures wet ink, letters thicken as they are absorbed into parchment. Our voices not enough, you tune the DAB, settle on 6 music, the Black Keys. Outside you start the car while I follow the parade of tiny lights on the radio display. Lyrics tickering, neon green, love's loss in LED. Dan Auerbach cawing lies while you pull away. I've got a stone where my heart should be, and nothing I do will make you love me. This morning you shaved off your beard, left the sink sprinkled with stubble, sheared with a rusted razor. You have started wearing the chenille jumper again, but the brightness has bled. Weak now, not the cobalt blue of days when my every page was for you. couple of war poems, and I have never performed them. So this poem is about how my granddad dealt with his time driving transport vehicles in Italy and Africa during World War II. And I say it's about that, but it's more about everything he didn't tell us, or my father. We only got a couple of fragments, so it's kind of about that silence. The helmet. From sibling squabbles drawn out along 3 hours of motorway, country A roads, we crossed into the hush of that house, where bedroom doors were always shut and where we never asked. In those muffled rooms, pink toweling over the toilet seat, a tub of lavender talc we would open, lift the puff, while a mouse dolly peered over wire pince nez, spare peach toilet roll hidden under a crinoline skirt, paws laid on her lace pinny, mini needles crossed in a stitch as she knitted a patch. We didn't ask. In the living room, where her green fingers lured bloom upon bloom from slipper orchids on the window ledge, where a carriage clock flicked away ornate seconds on the mantelpiece. We didn't ask. As she straightened antimacassars on the backs of wooden-armed chairs with padded rests, and we watched blue gas flicker on imitation logs while meat and 2 veg were passed through a serving hatch, we didn't ask. When he took the medal box from a bottom drawer, oblong of pale pink cardboard, we didn't ask. When he lifted the soft cloth from silver medallions, bronze stars, Tunis, Bizerte, Monte Cassino, melted down, neatly recast, we didn't ask. As he stuffed his curled pipe with old Holborn, sipped from the black agate tip, we didn't ask. For more than the fragment he gave our dad. I'd lost my helmet and saw one by the side of the road, and when I picked it up, there was a head in it. Serious one there. To end on a lighter note, this is a city of rivers. I live in Bristol, where the Avon flows through its heart, and I feel that the Avon flows through the heart of all Bristolians. I've been enjoying the restraint and musicality of traditional forms, so I've had a go at Ottava Rima. It's quite a fun one to play with. And it works quite well with rivers, with the rhythm and the repetition that's involved. So, this is called I Choose River. And it's the final one I'm going to read in this part. I choose river. Tonight I choose river. Not the smooth new road, but night's elusive waters. I choose river. To slow my rhythm to the beat of rowers, I choose river, not the smooth new road. Tonight I choose river, not the disused railway, but the eights plying black water. I choose river, not to pick my way over sleepers, but to keep pace with command of coxswain. I choose river, not the disused railway. Tonight I choose river, not to stutter over rusted tram lines, but to keep step with a steadier meter. I choose river, night's brief wakes, its slow deliverance. I choose the foamy, silvered tracks furrowed by rowers, not to stutter over tram lines. Tonight I choose river, clunk in oarlock, whip through air, dip and fall against the will of water. I reject landlocked muscle, flea-docked bones. Slivers of light tremor me. I meet the coxswain's dare. Calling night's meter, I beat with flux of muscle. Clunk in oarlock, whip through air. Buoy myself on waters that have borne our changing wares for 1,000 years. I flow with all that night delivers, on ceaseless Avon, Usk, Severn, paying dark tribute to the estuary. Tonight I choose river, not muddled cobbles, but oars delving the dark levered. I choose river, not to let night cling, but to lift free, leave it quivering. I choose river, not muddled cobbles. Tonight I choose river, not the heavy beat of habit, but founding rhythms. I choose river, not routine's stodgy meter, but fleets of Romans, Phoenicians. I choose river, not the heavy beat of habit. Tonight I choose river, not the grasping street, but wary men raising quicksilver ripples. I choose river, not neon's pulsing hungers, but ancient slipstreams. I choose river, not the grasping street.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, and we'll be hearing more from Elizabeth in the second half. We're going to take 20 minutes now, so we'll start again at 4:05. If you want to be kept in touch with our shows, please leave your email here at the front desk, and if you've got spare change from Macmillan's nurses, please put them in there. So we'll see you in 20 minutes.